Hello and welcome, everyone. There is a link that I would love for you to join. It is in the chat. It is also going to be up on the screen. So, again, I would love for you to join today's session. It's going to be interactive. We're going to have fun because we are going to play some games. And I love teaching with game-based learning. It's such a great way to engage your learners in the content. So again, there is a link. It is up on the screen. Feel free to pause the screen, type this into your browser, or you can grab it over on the chat. As you're grabbing that link, my name is Stephanie, and I am a teaching and learning coordinator over at CAMI. I have been an educator for 11 years. I first started off as an intervention specialist. And one of the things that I was seeing when it came to my classroom is my students were not engaged. My students were just kind of, doing the motions of school. They weren't excited to learn all of the different things that I was trying to teach them. And so I started to use game-based learning. As soon as I started to use game-based learning, the students in my class were actually excited to come to my class. And so again, we had a lot of fun and we had a lot of excitement in my classroom when I was working with my students. So I'm excited to share some of those strategies with you today. And once you join our collaborative document, I want to know, what is your favorite game? So you're going to just grab the text box and you are going to add your favorite game onto the board that you know that you have played. So again, I'm just going to give you a moment to kind of think about your favorite game as a child, and you're going to add it onto our collaborative document. So we've got Clue, Payday. I loved playing Payday. There's also like Guess Who, right? If you see something that somebody already has on here, feel free to use the stickers and like +1 them. Like, oh, I love Clue too. Or, oh my gosh, Playday or Mall Madness. Does anyone remember that game? Again, I want you to use Add Media. You're going to use your stickers tool and you are going to +1 a game if it's already up here. Maybe it's a card game. Maybe it's a video game. So again, it can be board games, video games, card games. Trouble was another one. I am dangerous at Trouble. So again, you're going to use the text box, write out those games. Checkers, right? Did anyone play Connect 4? Sorry, I feel like that goes right up next to Trouble. My least favorite game is Monopoly, right? But I see someone adding that to the screen. Maybe it was chess, right? So again, you're going to add your favorite game using the text box. If your favorite game is already on the screen, we have a lot of games. Ticket to Ride is another good one. You're going to grab the Add Media, grab a sticker, and you're going to just say, yes, me too. Love, love, love that game. Love to use that. Play that with your friends, your family, whoever. Okay, so now that we've kind of explored some of our favorite games, we're going to be kind of learning what is game-based learning, right? There's game-based learning. There's also gamification. And then we're going to play. So that's kind of our agenda today is we're going to explore what is game-based learning, and then we're going to have some fun, and we're actually going to play. So game-based learning, why it's important in your classroom. So remember, when I was an intervention specialist, I had some students that absolutely hated school. And so when I introduced game-based learning, they were using problem-solving skills. My students were actually trying to think outside of the box with some of those higher levels of depth of knowledge. Because again, you can start with games with basic recall. You can also have games that challenge your students. So we did anywhere from like escape rooms to, quick questions that I might have used with my students. Another reason I like to use games is for that engagement. My students went from hating school to actually enjoying it. Same with my own son. I have a 4-year-old. And my son, if I ask him to do something, for example, his chores, he won't do it. But as soon as I flipped it the other night and I said, AJ, if you can be Eli's 1, Eli's 1, if you can be Eli's, to-do list of chores, you'll win a prize. And as soon as I said that, It went from, I don't want to do this, to he was so engaged, he was so excited, and now he's done chores for 2 nights straight, which is a fantastic, right? Motivation, it motivates us as learners. There's different types of games that we play. So if you notice on our board, we have some games where, it's just trouble. It's just Ticket to Ride. It's just checkers, right? And so maybe you're playing against somebody. That competition can be really, really engaging for some of our learners. Whereas some games you need partners to play with, right? Like you need friends to help you out. And so there's social games, and then there's also games that are kind of competitive. That motivates a lot of different students. And so when we're thinking of games, we want to keep that motivation level up. One thing that I do want to point out when it comes to motivation is if you have a game, in that game, there is like a clear team that's losing. You want to be able to like swap points or something to keep that game, that group engaged. Maybe they just won 1,000 points, right? And so you kind of want to scaffold your games and maybe have different power-ups so there's never a loser. And there's always a chance to win. That's going to keep that motivation up. Feedback. When I play games, I usually get 10,000 steps in a day. And with that 10,000 steps, I am giving feedback to my students. It's live, it's in person, it's fast. It's allowing me to see that formative assessment data. I'm not taking papers home because they need that feedback live. Sometimes with games, I might use a computer-based program to also support. And then there's practice. So the students are getting practice. They're reviewing how to learn certain concepts. It might be that retrieval practice where they're seeing it over and over and over again. So again, there's a lot of different resources when it comes to practice. Then there's also teamwork, where students can, again, work together to solve problems, and they can use each other to build up the excitement. So again, that is my why for games. That is why I love games. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play. Are you guys ready to play? And so when we play, you are going to have some competitiveness. On our shared document, there are slides. So if you want any of the templates, you'll just open up the slide deck. You'll go to this page. And if you click on this link right here to the image, it will take you to the game resource. And over here, you can watch a YouTube video if you just want to see that video again. It will also give you the slides. So if you need to edit the template, feel free to grab those slides, make a copy, and edit those resources. So again, that is available to you. It's up here. You'll just click that link and grab it. Also, if you need the recording, right here's the recording. Feel free to rewatch as many times as you need to, or jump to different parts of the game. So this is going to be our game board. We've got a couple different games we're going to learn today. This first one is Tic-Tac-Booyah. And how you play Tic-Tac-Booyah is you have this like infinity tic-tac-toe board, right? There's multiple squares in this tic-tac-toe board. All you need is questions. Your questions can be on a piece of paper. Your questions can be digital. Okay, so maybe you use Kami questions, or maybe you use a fun game-based platform. So with Tic-Tac-Booyah, your students are answering questions. This game, I usually get 10,000 steps. So again, they're either answering a worksheet, maybe they have a whiteboard and you're giving them different questions. Also, typically, I'm working in small groups. I have done this where there was only 5 students in the class, so they were all on their individual team. However, usually I'm with a class of 25 to 30, so each of those students are part of a group. So we've got team 1, team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. So you've got all of these students in a group, and what's going to happen is you've got this Kami document up on the board. So you've got your game board right there, Tic-Tac-Booyah. Students answer a question, you run over and you go, you got it right. Your students come up, they grab the shape tool, they pick any of the shapes. You can say, okay, team 1, is rectangles, team 2, team 3, team 4. You could also do different colors based on your team. Students will add onto the document where they want their little annotation to go. So right here, I've got my nice little circle. They go back, they answer another question. And this time, team 2 might have got that question right. Okay, so maybe it was team 2 that got it right. They come to shapes. Team 2 is this green color. They're going to go right here. Team 3, they get it right. They're this yellow color. They're going to put it right here. Team 1 gets it right again. They come up. They're trying to get 4 in a row. That's the goal. Okay, so again, our teams are trying to get 4 in a row. Team yellow, they're blocking this team. They see that opportunity. The green team is like, oh, we're going right here. This purple team's like, okay, well, we're still going to try to win. And this yellow team is blocking the green team from winning. The yellow team answers 2 in a row. They've got 2 dots up there, and the green team gets 4 in a row. So then they grab the drawing tool, and they can either circle or draw a line or highlight that they have gotten 4 in a row. The game can stop. It can be a quick game like that. But your students are going to be so engaged when you play with Tic Tac Booyah that they're going to want to keep playing. So I'm going to grab the shape tool again. Team 1 gets it right again. Okay, now we're tied. Team 1 and team 2 is tied, right? And so now that they're tied, your students are going to keep trying to block. So here we go. Team 2 is a little upset at team number 3, the yellow team. So they're going to come in and they're going to block them, right? And so now team 2 comes in. They get another 4 in a row, we'll say. You draw that up there. And bam. At the end of the time, once all the boxes are filled up, you count how many each team has, and that is your winner. Again, it's a lot of fun. You're going to get 10,000 steps because you're running around the room, you're giving feedback, you're saying, go, 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 right? And it's just exciting. It's fun. You can set a timer. Once the 10 minutes is up, you're done. You can play until all the blocks on the board are filled up and you're done. You can play until the first team gets 4 in a row and then you're done. Multiple different ways to modify, adapt this game for your classroom and based on the time limits that you need. So again, I ask questions, my students complete the questions, and then they go up to the board and they add their dot onto the board. Tic Tac Booyah. The next game, again, if you need the resource, you'll just click on the slides and here is the link. This one is landmine. So when it comes to landmine, we are going to have some fun with landmine. Again, all you need is questions. You're going to use that shape tool again in Kami. Students get asked questions. Students will answer those questions again on a whiteboard, on a piece of paper, on a Kami document, on some type of platform. And students are going to use that shape tool and they're going to find a spot on the coordinate grid. They add their little dot. Whenever students are on a collaborative document, their initials get added onto that board. So if we hover over here, we can see SH, which is Stephanie Howe. And if I had another student playing, so I'm going to go ahead and copy this link. Again, if you need the slides, they are up on the screen. Pause the video, grab the slides. Would love for you to explore. Feel free to click on this interactive board, test out the shapes, add your own points as we're playing around. Okay, so this student has joined. I'm going to go to the shapes tool. And I am going to use this blue color, and we're going to go right here. So every time students get it right, they find a spot on the board and they add their dot. You'll notice that it now says teacher Stephanie Howe. So if I had another student, so right now we're going to open up student Olivia. Student Olivia is going to go on. They get the question right. They're going to pick their color and their shape. So again, I like to use circles, but that's totally up to you. And that student is going to come on. They've got that question right. They're going to go right here. Again, if I need to know which student is our winner, I just hover over and I can see where the students place their dots. Occasionally, when I'm feeling up to it, I'm going to come on, grab add media, grab a sticker, and I can place this little sticker as a coordinate grid. Stickers are special. Okay, so stickers are special. I want you to remember that. So again, students are adding their dots as they're answering these questions. The game is over. Again, is it your timer? Is it all the dots on the board are filled up? Decide how you're going to play. Decide how much time you have. As you're giving that feedback to your students, they go up and they add their little dot onto the board. Remember, I added random hearts. The teacher adds the random hearts. So just remember that. The teacher adds the random hearts. You could also have a student do it if you wanted to. And what happens is I either call the teacher down the hallway, I call the principal, I maybe have like a roller, like a spinner roller, and I have it like spin two different numbers, 1 through 5, -1 through 5. Maybe I even have a roll of dice, right? So I roll that dice, I do whatever I need to do. And let's say the dice rolled -2, 1. So what happens is we go to -2 and we go up 1. And this student is the winner. Maybe they win some Jolly Ranchers. Maybe they win extra recess, whatever it is. Okay. So again, you roll the dice, you spin the wheel, you call the principal, they pick a coordinate. It's -2, 1. That student wins. If it was 1, 1, this student would have won. Now, let's say the answer was 4, 2. So right here, we've got our heart, 4 up 2. Your students are learning coordinate grids. So this is kind of fun, right? Like they're playing a game, but they're also learning coordinate grids. And so right here, I've got 4, 2, and it's the heart. If it's the heart, everyone in the class gets the reward. Everybody in the class gets the Jolly Ranchers. Everybody in the class gets extra recess, whatever you decide. So if it's the heart, every single student gets that reward. How exciting is that? So again, you can either play individually or you can play with, okay, where is it at that students are going to score? Is it everybody or is it just going to be that one individual? You can take out the everybody if you don't want that and just do individual. You can also do group work again. So again, maybe you do groups, they pick their own colors, they have a team leader that goes up to the board. And then again, I just hover over and I can see which group if I do colors, or again, I can hover over to see which student added that to the screen. So this one, again, is my favorite. It's one of my favorites. It's Landmine, where your students, they're able to access the grid, and then they have complete access of the grid, and you play. So again, you just need questions for that one. Next up, we've got Spot and Dot. So again, there are other resources in here for you to explore. We're actually going to skip Spot and Dot in the update work game. But if you want to see those resources, those are available for you in the slide deck. So again, those resources are hyperlinked. You're able to watch a YouTube video that will give you some additional information on those resources. But we're going to skip to bingo. And so with bingo, what happens is your students choose with a partner. This one was getting to know partners. You could also do this with Spanish. Now, I don't know Spanish, but you could go into the comment tool. And students can actually either screen record, videotape, but we're actually going to use the voice comment feature. They click voice comments, and then they can say this word in Spanish. So they would choose TV shows or movies, and then you could have your students speak another language if that's what you're teaching. You could have them with math problems, and students would click the voice comment, the text comment, type their answer, whatever you wanted to do. And once they add their little dot onto the screen, their goal is to get a bingo. So maybe their bingo is this way. Maybe their bingo is another way. For a student to get the bingo might win a prize. So again, you might have different activities on here. You could have them speak different languages. You could have them answer different problems. But again, as soon as your students have 5 in a row, then they win that prize. And here they were practicing different words with their language. So again, they were trying to use which ones they preferred in Spanish. Again, you could have math problems. You could have questions from a story. And then your students could type out the answers if you needed them to. They could speak the answers. You could also have them demonstrate how to solve problems. So there is a recording tool built right into Kami. And so I can have my students record their screens explaining how to solve a problem. And then once they hit done, I will have that video recording. So again, there's a lot of options. You could also do it with vocab words. Students have to come in. You could say the definition, and then they could come in and maybe they provide a fun little video. So let's do the video. And they explain what beach is. So you can have a lot of fun with this activity, multiple ways to use it. Vocabulary, we've used it, changing the language and having students try to speak in Spanish or another language. You can also have it to review concepts. And again, there's a lot of tools built into Kami where students can come in and they can use these tools. So multiple ways to rinse and repeat this activity to use in your own classroom. Next up, we've got Connect 4. And so with Connect 4, students, again, will come in and they play with a partner. And these are focused on art control. So this is for basic reading. This is for our younger learners. Again, you could put math questions in here. You could put the answers. And what the students are going to do is they're going to grab the comment tool. They're going to grab the voice comment feature, and they're going to click, and they're going to say this word, fart. Once students finish, they can stop. And then their partner goes, they pick a different color, art. Then they go again, Bart. Then their partner goes, Mart, right? And so you could have your students use this in a sentence. Again, you could do vocabulary words, and maybe they leave a video comment where they're acting out the word again. Multiple different ways to create this lesson to make it engaging for your learners. So again, there's so many different ways that you can use Connect 4 in your classroom, just like you can for this bingo activity. And all of these games, they can be recreated to work in your own classroom. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick one game and I want you to try it out in your classroom. We want you to see, how does that activity go? How excited are your students? And now you have a bonus. So right now I'm going to kind of review Jeopardy. So Jeopardy is another great way for you to explore with your students. What happens with Jeopardy is usually I hate Jeopardy. And the reason I hate Jeopardy is because one student's answering. So again, when we went back and we talked about motivation, right? If students are bored, if they're not participating, if they're not active, then they're going to kind of tune out on this activity. However, with Jeopardy, students come in, they type their answer or they say their answer. Everybody in your classroom is participating in this activity. So again, your students will grab the activity, they type in their answer, they say their answer, they act out their answer, and then you go over the answer and they highlight correct answers one color, incorrect answers are another color. Once students answer these questions, then they add up their points. So 400 plus 500 is 900. Okay, so again, students come in, they complete these questions, they type their answer in the actual box. You review the answer with your students, and then they highlight if it's correct or incorrect. And at the end, you tally that up. You could have students still working individually. You could have them working in groups, and then they add up all of their totals together, or maybe they get the average of their totals together. It depends on what you're teaching in math. And then students, you'll have a winner in that group can get some type of prize. So again, a great way for you to do this with your students. One thing that I do suggest to do with Jeopardy, so I'm going to grab my, let's see here, my template. I think it's this one right here. And we're going to go over here, and I am going to use Google Classroom for this example. However, you can use Google Classroom, Canvas, Schoology, Microsoft Teams with Kami. And so I'm going to go over to Google Classroom, and I'm going to go into my class right here, and we're going to play Jeopardy. So I'm going to hit create a Kami assignment. And once I hit create a Kami assignment, I am going to type in here Jeopardy. I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and I am going to find my game. So right here's my game. I hit select. And what happens with this is every single student's going to get their own copy. You can change your points, the due date. You can even add future controls. I'm going to hit assign. Every student's going to get their own copy of that Jeopardy board. So again, we're playing individual because again, I want all of my students to be focused. And then I assign this to my learners. And once I assign it, I'm going to hit refresh. And we're going to go into this Jeopardy game. Once I do that, I'm going to hit open with Kami. Once I click open with Kami, I get this class view. Class view is my absolute favorite. So again, I'm going to go ahead, go back into that assignment. It works in Canvas, Schoology, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom. You're going to hit open with Kami or open class view. Both of those buttons will get you to where we want to be. And right here, I can see all of my students' screens all at the same time. So as we're playing Jeopardy, I can see how this one student right here, student Danny, I can see how this student is answering. So I can see their answers. I can see this student's answer. I can see when they go to the markup tool and they highlight if they got the question right or wrong. I'm able to see how my students are doing all at the same time. So I can kind of rig the game, okay? I can look at class view and I can go, okay, Marcus, what's the answer? And Marcus is going to freak out because he didn't get anything done, right? Or Haley, maybe Haley's a student that struggles and she got the answer right. Haley, can you explain the answer? She does. Oh, Haley, you got it right. So I can use this to really aid on who answers the questions, and I can guide my students' understanding. You could also add a blank page. So rather than another Jeopardy page, in this page, I could save resources to my annotation bank, grab and drop these resources onto my students' screens, and they're going to get those scaffolds directly to them. So what a great way to support your students, right? So again, you can use class view. You create it as a Kami assignment, and then you can see your students answering. You can use this second box. I usually do a blank slide, and I can provide scaffolds to support my learners. So multiple games that we learned today. I want to know, what was your favorite? You're going to grab the sticker tool. So add media, stickers, and I want you to vote. Which one is your favorite game? For me, it's Tic-Tac-Booyah. I love Tic-Tac-Booyah. It's such a fun game. But again, you're going to use your stickers. You're going to vote for your favorite game. And I cannot wait to see what your favorite game is. So next steps. Your goal, your call to action is to try one of these games. Reminder that all of the resources are in this slide. We even have 2 other games if you're feeling some extra credit. Click on those resources, learn those games, and you can even try those out. But I want you to try one game that you're going to use in your classroom. And I love your feedback. So right here is a link. You're going to type your name, your email. The session today, I don't actually know if it's on here. So we will just see. Let's see here. Let's do Kami for collaboration. And my name is Stephanie, and you'll get a certificate of attendance for today's session. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had an absolute blast learning today. I'm also going to throw this link on our last slide. So I'm going to go over to our comments, add this over. I hope you had so much fun learning with me today. If you have any questions or need anything, my information is up here on this first page. You can email me. You can book a time with me. Happy to help. Happy to answer any questions. But I really enjoyed playing those games with you today. And I cannot wait to see how you're going to level up your teaching with games. Thanks, everyone.